So nuts.
I did a test in a magazine with that, and the whistle is what got me. When that supercharger whistles, and just a ridiculously fast bike. And I said to him, I'm going to buy one of these for one summer, and if I don't kill myself, I'll sell it. And I rode it that summer. It was, hey, listen, that bike was made for a guy 30 years younger than me. I had no business on that bike, but it was so much fun, and it was so quick. And then, at the end of the summer, I put it up for sale. And this kid from Utah, and I mean, you talk about the perfect bike for, he's like 21 or 22. Him and his two friends drove down to my house in like this beat up Ford Fiesta or something that literally was held together with tape. That's what was holding the bumper on. And they were at my house at like 7 a.m. on Thanksgiving Day to pick up the bike, and then they were going to ride it in shifts back to Utah. And I was like, man, this could not have gone to a better home.
What's up, folks? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. This episode is brought to you in part by HelloFresh. I love my HelloFresh. It is so delicious. The recipes they send every week, there's like over 50 possible episodes to do with 70 convenience items. You know what a convenience item is? It's a quick breakfast. It's a snack. It's even a dessert, right? Stuff that's just ready to eat, right? And I love to cook. I got a brand new kitchen at my new house, but you know what I hate? Grocery shopping. I hate figuring out what to buy. And that's why HelloFresh is great, because when you're choosing your menu items for each week, it's almost like ordering food off like Uber Eats or something. You order a finished meal, you see what it's going to look like, and then just the ingredients for that meal, the recipe, the ingredients, the spices, the sauces, it just shows up together, nice and fresh, packaged exactly the right amount of ingredients for the number of people you select in your family. And there's a whole bunch of options, from vegetarian stuff, healthy stuff. The chef selects. That means they're not healthy. That's what that means. But it means it's more rich and delicious. And HelloFresh isn't just for dinners. You can shop the HelloFresh market for quick breakfasts, wholesome snacks, even desserts. Find everything you need to satisfy your cravings without stepping foot in the grocery store or the mini mart. HelloFresh works on your schedule. The plans are flexible, and you can change your meal preferences or update your delivery day, or even change your address with just a few taps on the app. There's always something new on the menu, so you check every single week and get the latest and greatest recipes, and you can customize those meals further with Hello Custom by swapping proteins or sides, upgrading to choice proteins, or even adding a protein to a vegetarian meal. Never been easier to eat your way. So go to HelloFresh.com/SmokingTire16 and use code SmokingTire16 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes and 3 free gifts. HelloFresh.com/SmokingTire16, code SmokingTire16. That'll get you 16 free meals across 7 boxes and 3 free gifts. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit for a reason. We're also brought to you in part today by Off the Record. You don't need to participate in their financial ecosystem. We all know that most tickets written are not to keep people safe on the road. It's to keep people paying into a system, whether it's the ticket itself, court costs, insurance premiums, quotas, you name it. You don't want a part of it. That's why Off the Record is here. If you get pulled over for any moving violation, big or small, you gotta get Off the Record. They pair you with a qualified attorney in the location where you got that ticket, and they will fight it on your behalf. You don't personally need to go to court. It's very affordable, especially if you use offtherecord.com/TST as your link, or code TST10 on the Off the Record app. Save 10% on all legal services through Off the Record. And if they don't get those points off your record, it is free. You don't pay. It's great. Off the Record has an amazing success rate, and they cover 97% of the drivers in America. We love Off the Record. I keep the app ready on my phone, and if I'm about to get pulled over, I am confident and calm knowing I have people ready to fight that ticket on my behalf. I don't have to stress on the side of the road. I've personally had Off the Record fight 3 tickets with me, and we are 3 for 3, baby. I just scanned that ticket, sent them the scan. Didn't have to do anything else. It was so easy. So go to offtherecord.com/TST or use code TST10 on the app. The codes, both the link and the regular code in the app, are good for like years from now. They're good until 2025. So just download the app, input that code, and then you've got it ready when you need it. You don't have to think about it, but it's always going to be there for you. So thanks to Off the Record for sponsoring today's program. And of course, the Patreon, patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast, the best website in the world. If you want an ad-free listening experience, you want to get the Smoking Tire Podcast the same day it's recorded and not wait till the following Tuesday or Thursday? Do you want to submit questions for our live show? Do you want a 9th podcast, an extra show every month, more Smoking Tire? Then go to patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast and sign up now. It's great. We love it over there. And that stuff keeps us going when the ads get slim. You hear me? Alrighty then, on this show, my old friend, comedian Alonzo Bodden is in studio. Haven't seen him in a couple years, but the dude has been a touring monster, and not just touring comedy clubs around the country, touring on his motorcycles, whether it's a BMW GS or Honda Valkyrie, a Ducati Diavel. This dude knows his bikes. He's ridden a lot of stuff, also loves his cars, bit of a BMW loyalist, but it's a little more of a motorcycle day than a car day with Alonzo Bodden on the Smoking Tire Podcast. The fucking red button.
I know you're doing well because you got your own water.
Bro, all the details. Got all the details.
Adam Carolla know you have your own water?
He's fucking jealous.
Can I take one of these to Adam?
Yeah.
Hey, Adam.
Dude, leave one at his studio.
What the fuck, Adam? What's going on?
I just saw him at Pebble. We were laughing at the Acura's bringing back the ZDX. Speaking of ahead of time. Yeah.
But they're making it electric, right?
It's electric.
Yeah.
And they also put one of those dumb yoke steering wheels in the concept because apparently we don't know the reinventing the wheel joke at this point.
My favorite and most flattering thing Adam ever said to me, he asked me if I was going to the auction at Pebble. I was like, well no, Adam, I don't think I'll be there, but I'm flattered that you think I could. I'm very honored that you think the Chuckle Hut ain't kicking out that kind of money, but...
I was there when he bought that Newman Porsche. Mm-hmm. And I saw him right afterwards. And I was
Which
like,
one?
The 935, and it was $4.5 million. And I go, Adam, do you have $4.5 million? And he goes, no. You want to buy an Islero? He sorted out though. He was racing that thing this past month.
His Newman collection is incredible.
And so it's an interesting thing to really focus on, right?
Very special. But he drives them. I mean, he vintage races all of them. So,
but it's like it's so laser focused on the life history of one dude.
Yeah.
And to the tune of like literally millions of dollars in cars.
Yeah. That's a fan.
That's crazy. That is a real fan.
Yeah.
So how you doing? You've been all over, man. Your Instagram says you have a lot of frequent flyer miles this year.
Yeah. This year is back to normal, and I'm not 100% happy about it because, 2020, right, the first year of the pandemic being home, I hadn't been home like that in 25 years.
Yeah. Did you go stir crazy? Or
no, after the initial, I'm never going to work again, I'm going to go broke and lose everything. Mm-hmm. Once that passed, it was like, wow, it's kind of nice.
Did you did you find a way to innovate your comedy?
Yeah,
home?
we did. I was I don't know if it's good or bad to this day, but I was good at doing Zoom show comedy. So there was money to make there, and then it was here in Southern Cal, it was the outdoor shows, right? We were doing the drive-in shows, the rooftop show, the beach show. It was like being an open micer again.
Did you enjoy it, the outdoor stuff? It
was, it's working, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like being at the Laugh Factory on Friday night, but it's better than sitting at home wishing you were working. You know,
some of the guys I talked to were like not into the outdoor shows at all.
Well, outdoors is the worst place to do comedy, because comedy, you need the audience focused on you, and there's nothing but distractions, and you have a distance between you. So it's a very weird way, but it's like you adapt, man. You got to work, you know. And other states, there was still some regular work going on. Obviously, Florida and Texas never closed at all. There was no pandemic there.
Yeah.
But other places, they were doing, what they would do is like, you couldn't buy a ticket, you had to buy a table. So each table was a group of people that were either related or knew each other, and there was social distance between the tables and stuff. So there was work, but not a lot, but it was okay. But for me, I enjoyed being home. I enjoyed the quiet. I had never, you know, it had been so long since I did. And like I realized, like, man, I got a nice house. Kind of nice. I just finished redoing the master bathroom. It was like, and then in 21, I got a dog. Like
you got a Great Dane, right?
Yeah, I had a neighbor who was a dog trainer, and she was on me right from the beginning of the pandemic. She said, you should get a dog. You need a dog. You need to. Then she got more focused. You need a Great Dane. She's a Great Dane exactly like you. Big, funny, lazy.
Yeah.
Said they sleep 16, 18 hours a day.
Yeah.
I love my dog. Your
dog is
the
awesome.
greatest.
That's not what that dog looks like now.
No, he's a bit bigger.
A big fucking dog.
But he is, I tell everyone, he's the greatest therapist I ever had. Yeah, I did this series of pictures
He's
of
very
him
cute.
growing up. But he's really cool.
Dude, look at the size of his head now. That's like that's more recent,
the
right?
The shoulder of every shirt is covered with slob, because that's how he rides. And you know what car that is? You know what car we ride in?
Go back, let's see.
What do we ride in?
Is that a Wrangler?
No.
No, hang on. It's what the fuck?
Everyone laughs at our car.
What is that? Wait, I'm looking at the door frame.
And like the step down
round
third
door
window.
frame. It's not a Hummer H3, is it?
No.
I'm a little lost. What is it? Oh wait, is that a fucking Mini?
Countryman.
It's a Countryman. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's
the round door, the top of the round door.
Perfect door car. I mean, perfect dog car. I fold down the back seats, put his old bed in there, which happens to fit perfectly.
Yeah.
He jumps in the back and lays back there, and we just roll, and then everyone laughs.
Pretty good. Countryman's underrated.
Yeah,
It's not bad.
Way underrated.
Yeah, way underrated.
Mini, again, when you talk about engineering, they get more space out of a little car.
Yeah.
Like you and me, no one believes it, but you and me could ride in a Mini.
I had a 2006 coupe. It was I was lounging.
And you and me wouldn't touch each other.
Yeah.
Like we'd be sitting in there, and people like, how do you fit in there? It's like, I don't know.
They seem to keep getting
they're
bigger,
brilliant.
though.
They're getting bigger.
They were the right size 10 years ago, and now they're creeping.
Yeah, the next gen Countryman's supposed to be big. So that's how big
God
he is
damn,
now.
that dog is fucking huge.
That picture is an odd perspective, but
yeah, you look like Kareem with your legs. Are fucking
it was a weird picture. He was a weird photographer, but Hulk now is about 140, 145.
That's a big boy.
Yeah, he's awesome though.
My friend Jen got a Great Dane, and you know what she did with her car? She got a new Defender, the new Land Rover Defender 2-door.
Really? Because I'm looking at those.
They're cool as fuck.
Yeah.
And in Europe, they have a utility version, and you can buy as parts the rear seat delete kit with like a plastic utility back. So she took the back seat out of the Defender and made it just a dog hauler. So she's got 2 seats in the shit. It's pretty cool, actually. It's a good, because folding those seats forward sucks anyway.
Yeah.
It's a good move. Really nice truck, though. Yeah, great for the city.
I'm thinking about looking at one of those. I'm just afraid I'm going to buy one. You know.
Oh, if you look at it, you're not walking away without it.
Yeah. Like, oh, great. There's another.
You're not a good casual
Now, are they marking
shopper?
those up or no?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Now you
They
can
were.
put an order in, you can get one.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
I saw,
6 months it was tough.
I saw a used one that I was going to look at in Van Nuys, but yeah, because everyone talks about the Bronco, but the markup on the Broncos, they're insane.
The Broncos are nice. We've driven a couple of them, but they're not $80,000 quality vehicles.
I somehow have become friends with the auto loan guy at my credit union. Not sure how. Apparently we talk.
He calls me once a week. I don't know why.
But he was saying, he said, man, people are paying 70 and 80 grand for Broncos, and he said they're really going to be hurt when they trade these things in, and they find out like, oh, that was a $40,000 car. It's worth $25,000. we're sorry you paid 80 grand for it. You know that, and that's what's going to happen. People are going to get buried in 2 or 3 years, right?
Paying over for a car that they will build and sell as many as they possibly can, as quickly as they can do it, is just fucking dumb. I mean, it's one thing if it's a GT3 RS or something, but if it's, imagine paying that much over for a Wrangler.
If you they did when that, what was it, the truck came out, when the Jeep truck came
Gladiator.
out, the Gladiator, people paid for that. You know, if you have the money and you want to be the first guy on the block to have one, that's okay. But once that's worn off, or if you're borrowing the money and you have to borrow an extra 10 grand, then it doesn't make sense. Not that I haven't done things with, not that I haven't done vehicle things that don't make sense. I'm not judging anybody. I'm just saying.
But if you have to take a loan out to be that guy, God help you.
Yeah.
There's the new Nissan Z. They're marking them up by $50,000 for a fucking Z.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 100% over.
The great thing about that is there is no way I'm going to fit in it. So I don't even, you know, there's certain cars that's like, I ain't got to worry about it.
Yeah.
The what is it, the Lexus LC500?
Oh, yeah.
I wish that had 6 inches more legroom.
Can't fit in that?
That's a big car with a small interior.
I fit in it okay, but you're a little bigger than me.
Right?
But I thought you'd fit in it all right. It's a lovely car.
I mean, I could sit in it, but not comfortably. You know, it's not like a BMW or a 6, which is now an 8, again, getting into BMW numbers. But it's such a fantastic car, and it's like, why didn't you make it bigger? Like, why doesn't the interior have more room?
I think part of it had to do with the fact that they made a hybrid version where the battery pack goes behind the seats, I think.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. It should be big. It's a big car.
Yeah, like Porsche did it, right? When that new guy took over Porsche and he was like 6'6" and said, I need to fit.
Yeah, I want to fit every seat in every car.
It made sense because now you had this whole market of athletes and that couldn't buy 911s, or they bought a 911 and they're like me, and you're looking left and right at your knees, you know. And I mean, they added 4 or 5 inches of legroom, and it just made it such a different car.
Yeah, they're like great cars for tall people now.
Yeah.
Well, Panamera too. The back seat of a Panamera is like totally okay for a tall person.
The back seat of a Panamera is like limo.
Yeah.
Right?
Because he wanted to be able to fit back there. He said, "Don't even bother." Or you can get the China extended wheelbase executive edition with some fucking dragon inlays and shit, and it's like a fucking real limo back there. But all right, so your credit union guy is your homie right now.
Yeah.
What is in the Bodden stable right now? The Countryman for the dog.
I'm all BMW right now.
100%.
100% BMW.
What?
It is.
That's right.
It is somehow. It has somehow gravitated to that, not intentionally.
You were always BMW heavy.
I've always loved Beamers.
Yeah.
You know, it's like people are either, I think, Mercedes or Beamer, and I've always been Beamer. And then I love Porsches, but whenever I get a 911 after about a year, I'm like, I don't want to put luggage in a seat.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not useful. Although I had a 930. That's the one that got away. That's the only car I truly regret having sold. I had an 88 930.
Oh, those are
good. It was
a 5-speed too.
Awesome, yeah.
The 5-speed ones are like,
the guy had converted it. He put the G50 transmission in, and he put in the smaller turbo so it would spin up faster and you get less lag. It was but it was a hard car. I mean, it was hard. Like the suspension was, you'd feel every pebble. And, back with the air-cooled ones, the air conditioning was like, okay, crank up the air conditioning, then roll down the windows because it doesn't work with the shit.
And by the way, it kills the throttle response. Yeah. I had air conditioning in my 911. I never used it. It was terrible.
Yeah, it was so I mean, at the time, like, it was also before they were worth a fortune.
Yeah.
It was when they were it was a nice used
car. They was 35, 40 grand
right.
for the longest time.
So I sold it, and and then I was like, man, I wish I had kept. But anyway, so Porsches, I'm always tempted to buy a Porsche. So I've got the M5 is the car, the Countryman is the daily driver and dog car. Then I've got the Megamoto, which you saw outside.
That thing, Zach, you got to check out this bike outside. It's the HP2 Supermoto.
Yeah, it's called the Megamoto.
Oh, that's the technical name?
Yeah,
I thought that was your slang name for it.
It's called the HP2 Megamoto.
It's cool as fuck. I think it just cost me a lot of money. I think I have to I have to call Iconic and find one of those.
I'll tell you that story in a minute. the K1600 Grand America, which is a big touring bike.
Touring bike.
Which I absolutely love. The BMW 6-cylinder engine is great.
I always said someone should put one of those in a car. Like a little Miata or something.
You know what? I asked about that with the Goldwing, because the Goldwing was a great motor. I said, why don't they put it in the Civic? And they're like, the transmissions won't handle the weight of a car. That's what the limit is. So because they're better than their small car engines. Like the 1600 motorcycle engine makes more power than the 2-liter car engine.
1.6 liter 6 inline 6. Like now we're fucking talking.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So I've got.
And what is that red line at? Will it go to like 10?
8,500.
Yeah, high,
something like that.
Yeah.
Then I've got the.
That's the
HP2.
Megamoto. That thing is real cool.
And then I've got the R18 Cruiser. Mm-hmm. And I just got the K1200R, which was just really, I need to stay off Iconic. Like, Iconic is one of those, you're on there late at night. You're like, let me throw in a bid. Oh, shit, I won. I bought it. Damn, now I got this thing. So that's what happened with that.
I like those guys. They have one of my bikes right now.
They're great guys.
I bought a CX 500 Turbo, which is a wonky ass bike from the 80s.
That was the one that was when they were testing turbos, but they couldn't figure it out for motorcycles. There was a big turbo lag, and they were really heavy.
Yeah. It's not like a good bike.
No, but it's a unique.
I bought it to park it in the lobby down here because it says turbo all over.
Right.
I'm like, this is cool as fuck. And I got it for pennies. I got it for nothing.
Yeah, because they didn't sell, and they were like, they needed maintenance and stuff. They weren't. There was a crazy purchase right there.
What the fuck is that?
That was a Harley Fat Boy.
That's like the Terminator 2 Fat Boy, isn't it?
With a supercharger on it.
What?
So
what?
The guy,
is that sideways mounted?
No, the supercharger was just sat next to the engine. That big silver thing.
No, like vertically, vertical next to the engine.
Mm-hmm.
That is fucking crazy. I've never seen anything like that. Who makes that?
I don't remember who made the supercharger, but Pro Italia had it. I did a bunch of business. I bought a bunch of bikes with them, and Bill was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this thing. And this was when my buddies and I, we were all getting old, so we were giving up our sports bike and going into cruisers and naked bikes and stuff. I said, how much you want? He gave me a good price. I'll buy it. And I took it to my guys, and I said, hey, man, let's put a fat rear tire on it, right? They have that Harley kit where you put like a 240
like
rear
a car tire on the
right?
back.
So I said, let's do that, because the engine was so wide with the supercharger, right? Then they're like, well, we put the tire kit on, and we got to paint the fender. And we're thinking, as long as we paint the fender, it's like, you want to paint the whole bike? They're like, yeah, we figure we should. Yeah. So it's like, all right. So they're like, well, we painted the bike, and now we notice, like, the wheels, because you see the aluminum disc wheels, they don't really match the supercharger. So we want to polish the wheels. I said, so this is going to be an AIP custom. They were like, yeah, pretty much. And I was like, just go ahead.
So
do what
while
you
you're
want to
in
do.
there.
This is a great upsell.
I don't know if you have the picture of when it was done. They built this really cool Harley custom out of it.
Well, so when the supercharger is on the right side of the motor, does it affect the weight balance of the bike?
No, man, it's an old Harley Fat Boy. You don't worry about weight balance. Harley Fat Boys don't handle.
you know about dynamics and shit.
Know.
So do you notice?
Because at its best, a Fat Boy doesn't handle.
Yeah, okay.
Like it's not that bike.
Let's see.
Let's see. There may not be a picture of it completed, because I literally had it for 3 days, and I told them sell it. I just didn't like the ride. It rode really bad.
In that first photo, it has no rear suspension. It's a hardtail bike.
It's a they call it a soft tail. It has two small shocks hidden under the engine.
Oh, okay.
It has like 2 inches.
So it's like a frame
rear.
that like rotates.
Yeah, it has like 2 inches of travel.
Yeah.
So if you back up, I'll tell you the story. See that?
Yeah, okay, you leaning over on a Ducati?
That was my 1098.
Yeah.
Awesome bike, doing a track day. Might have been the day that picture was taken. I high-sided it.
Ooh.
Broke my wrist.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Broke up the plastic on the bike. My buddy Nick down in Florida, who's a bike builder, calls me. What are you doing with the bike? I was like, thanks for asking about me, Nick.
I'm fine, thanks.
Yeah, he was like, what are you doing with the bike? So I said, I don't know. He said, let's make a Street Fighter. Send it to me. So I sent it to him down in Florida, and then if you go to the next one, that was me unloading it from the truck when he got done. That's the same bike.
That's pretty
so
crazy.
cool.
Yeah, he stripped everything. It's for sale right now at Pro Italia, unless someone bought it. But he stripped everything off of it.
What's
did
your
the custom
favorite
wheels.
motorcycle sound, exhaust sound? Like, because mine's Ducati, and we're talking about Ducati. That's where it comes
You know
from.
what my
Do you have a
favorite sound is? It's not the exhaust, it's the dry clutch.
Clack, 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 clack,
The
clack, clack, clack.
Ducati dry clutch. What did this guy say? That it sounds like a guy masturbating with a pocket full of change. And I said, yeah, that's what it sounds like. Yeah, but to me, that's the greatest motorcycle sound because it's so unique.
Yeah.
But I would say Ducatis probably have the best sound. I like Ducatis
Because they got the twin and they got the revs. They got both.
because it's a booming twin.
Ooh,
It's
look
a
at this.
That's a crazy fucking bike.
Yeah, there was a guy in San Francisco who did the exhaust. That was all hand welded. Nick did the belt covers. If you look, he copied in aluminum. He did like a laser cut that followed the belt.
How much of that was added versus purely removed?
Well, all the
Plastic's gone.
is all gone. So he added, he changed and added stuff. So the belt cover you can see.
Yeah.
He added that. He went with different brakes.
The belt cover looks like it's like when people do the edges in LED lights
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah,
Like it's like outlined.
He put the gold clutch in. But
It's funky. Did it ride good?
rode hard. Definitely, it rode like a race bike.
Yeah.
It was basically like a race bike, and it was hot.
That
was fun though, and that was one of the first Street Fighter Ducati. Like a lot of people, if you see these other pictures, a lot of people copied that bike.
Yeah.
They'll deny it, but they copied that bike, and that bike got a lot of press. It was in all the magazines and stuff like that. It was a hell of a,
There's a lot of results if you search for it. A lot of photos of it.
It was a great bike. It was fun. And then it just got to where I wasn't riding it much. It was sitting in the garage, and my knees weren't becoming more flexible.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, time to let that one go. And I think I sold that and got a multi-strata or something.
Those are great bikes.
The multis.
The newer one, the V4S.
four-cylinder, man,
they're
that thing
fucking
rips.
fast, man. I got
That
one as a
thing
press
rips.
bike. It was
Yeah.
awesome. Have you been on any of the? Have you tried any like the crazy new technologies, like the Pan America with the kneeling suspension, or like radar cruise control on a bike?
I absolutely love the biggest change in bikes that I love is the suspension.
Mm-hmm.
The electronic suspension, because I go back to the old days in the 80s when you had that stupid wrench and you had
You
to
had
try
to do two wrenches
and
at
so
once.
so you would bust both knuckles, right, trying to get, and you didn't know what you were doing.
Yeah.
You had no idea let's turn this and let's turn that. And then
Colin
the
Chapman,
fork,
make the suspension adjustable, and they'll
Right.
adjust it wrong.
the fork had the damping, but you couldn't feel the clicks with your little screwdriver. It was a mess. Now you get on and you punch like me. I'm heavy, so I punch in rider with saddlebags, even though it's just me, and the suspension adjusts. And now the preload, as soon as you get on, adjusts itself.
Yeah.
It's like, are you kidding?
That's the
This is I love that kind of technology.
Yeah, because it actually does. It's weird how, like, in a car, those technologies can sort of separate you from the driving experience, but in a motorcycle, it doesn't have the same effect.
No, it works better.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
It really works better, and
same with like a quick shifter. Like I want a manual gearbox in a car,
Right.
but I have no problem having a clutchless quick shifter on a bike. I still feel
I have
very
no problem
involved.
with a dual clutch in a car.
As long as you have control over it.
But stay out of the way. The car's smarter than me. I mean, there's
sometimes,
times. Listen,
if the car is smarter than you, sometimes the car is dumber than you, and it's trying to tell you it's smarter
right?
than
But
you.
when
it's lying.
if you're on the track and you drive real hard or something like that,
Sure.
then you want to shift it. But 90% of the time, it's like, let the car do it. And it's one of those things that. Here's the Mega Moto on track.
Oh, you tracked that thing?
Not this one, but that was my first one.
Oh,
there's a hell
cool.
of a track
What do these Mega Motos go for? 20?
About 20.
20
So
grand?
you were
They're
talking
pricey.
about iconic. So
Yeah,
I'm looking
they're
for
pricey.
I'm looking for a Mega Moto, and I tell Abby, hey, I'm looking for a Mega Moto if you stumble across one. So he gets one from some guy in Arizona, and it's in great shape. And he calls me. He's like, all right, listen, I got a Mega Moto, but I can't sell it to you. He said, because I rode it and really liked it. And the guy said, yeah, you keep that for you. So he's like, so this is going to be I was like, Avi, shut up.
You're a fucking dealer.
So
you can't keep the good shit, you fuck.
Yeah, he found another one that wasn't quite as good, like it was kind of rough. And then I found one on the East Coast. This collector was selling one, and he was asking top dollar, but it only had like 2,000 miles. And I kept, for months, I was like, it's consignment. I'm like, is he willing to give up? He said, no. Is he willing to give up? He said, well, actually, he's thinking about raising the price because now there's another one on there. And I said, you know what? I'll pay it. So I ended up paying him $24 for it, which was more than it cost new.
Yeah.
Worth every penny.
Yeah.
It's in mint condition and everything.
This is this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really nice.
It's very unique and it's just really a badass bike.
It's really
How does it compare riding wise to other like motard, super motard bikes from other OEMs that you've ridden?
Well, it's better than the Ducati because it's much big because it's bigger. I mean, the Ducati Hyper Motard is great, but it's a small bike.
Yeah, if you're 5'8",
you got to be a racer size guy to enjoy it. And nobody else really made one that was, so the BMW works. Also, because it's a BMW, it does everything well. Like, it's well made, beautiful components on. It's one of the few BMWs that use a conventional fork. Doesn't use their usual telelever in the front. And, top of the line, everything, Öhlins shock, Akrapovic exhaust, all of that's factory, really light. So in comparison to the other motards, it would almost be like if you made a motard out of a multistrada. That might compete, but
that would be cool.
That would be awesome.
Maybe if you crash one of those, you could send it.
I did. I built a Street Fighter out of the original multistrada. I built a Street Fighter from that. Which was great. Yeah, that was a fun bike. That was cool.
I have never seen one of these Mega Motos, though. I think I asked when he rode up there, I was like, "Is that new?" He's like, "No, it's really old, actually." Like, oh shit!
It was never a big seller. It was one of those bikes that was great, but a few people. But it was also expensive. I mean, at the time when it came out in 08,
this says 12,000 pounds in 2007, which was like 18 grand.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it was about 20 grand when bikes were 10 grand.
Yeah.
So it was like you had to want one.
Yeah.
Because wasn't it only like 7 years ago ish the Ducati, like the 1099 Panigale was like $23,000 or $25,000. Am I misremembering that? But that was that was top shelf super sport. And,
there was a time when like the most expensive Ducati was like $27.99.
Wow.
Other than the Desmos.
Yeah, and then they figured out. Hang on a second, people buying this could really afford a lot. If we made this body out of carbon instead of plastic, we could charge 3 times as much for this fucking thing.
Right, and it just they're worth it if you use them.
Sure.
Most people don't. Like Ducati's one in particular. People don't ride ducks the way they're supposed to be ridden. You got to ride a duck hard because they're really uncomfortable and they're hot and this and that. But when it's in its element, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, the multistrada was good every day.
The multi can do everything.
That could do everything.
Yeah, the multi could do everything.
I had one of those for 3 weeks as a demo, and I was absolutely blown away by how
the
good
multi's
it was.
One of those you just get on it every day and go, and it does everything well.
Yeah. Have you tried any of the electric bikes yet? Like the Livewire or any of those?
I haven't ridden a Livewire. I've ridden a Zero.
Did you enjoy it?
The new ones, yeah. The first ones, when they first came out, it felt more like your electric bicycle. It felt like a scooter. It was really light, and it just didn't feel like a motorcycle. Now they've built in that feel, so it feels more like a motorcycle, which is very cool. I rode the Energica Superbike. I wasn't crazy about it, but I have a friend he's a track dude, and he's really fast, and he loves it. He bought one. He loves it. I haven't ridden a Livewire, so I don't know. I've heard good things.
I like how it rides. I think it's cool.
I've heard good things about it.
The range sucks, but the actual ride is very nice.
Yeah,
it feels like flying a glider.
You lose a lot of the visceral stuff that a motorcycle.
That's the Energica? Oh wow, it really looks like a multistrada almost.
Yeah, the new Energica, they made that adventure bike, and then they have a super bike version and some other version.
Are these made as well as they look in the photos? That photo.
I think they're well made, but
Where are they
again,
from?
I don't know.
Italy.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
I don't know that you're going to take an electric adventure bike off-roading.
Fuck no, dude. I'm not doing that shit. Unless you had a F-150 Lightning to charge it off of or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Or patience and solar panels.
and somebody just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need a support crew for one of those. That's pretty cool looking, though. I'm into that. You should try. You should have a go on a live wire if you can. They feel like substantial. It feels like
a friend of mine just did a test on one. He has a magazine. He just did a test on one over the weekend. I'm still looking for that Harley. That's why I'm going through this. I'm listening to you, but I want to show you what they did with the bike because it came out absolutely beautiful. I just didn't like it. But
I'm still the supercharger thing. That's crazy. I've literally never seen that on a motor. Other than that one, what is that? Honda had a.
Well, Yamaha,
Kawasaki.
Someone came out with a supercharger.
Has the HP2s, which I had one of those. So I did a test in a magazine with that, and the whistle is what got me when that supercharger whistles, and just a ridiculously fast bike. And I said to him, I'm going to buy one of these for one summer. And if I don't kill myself, I'll sell it. And that literally, I rode it that summer. It was, listen, that bike was made for a guy 30 years younger than me. I had no business on that bike.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun, and it was so quick. And then, at the end of the summer, I put it up for sale. And this kid from Utah, and I mean, you talk about the perfect bike for, he's like 21 or 22. Him and his two friends drove down to my house in like this beat up Ford Fiesta or something that literally was held together with tape. That's what was holding the bumper on. And they were at my house at like 7 a.m. on Thanksgiving Day to pick up the bike, and then they were going to ride it in shifts back to Utah. And I was like, man, this could not have gone to a better home. Like, you kids, like, that's who this bike was made for.
We're going to do it straight and rotate.
Exactly.
One guy in the car, one guy in the bike, one guy napping. Rotate. We got a schedule right here.
You bring 3 because if one dies, then the other one can still ride it.
But I was just laughing because I was like, I remember that age. Because when you're 21, 22, you do stuff like that, right? You get a sport bike, and you're like, it's only 700 miles.
How hard
we're gonna ride this home. You don't think about renting trailers when you're 21. Nobody's gonna rent anything to you.
What's the longest you rode in a day, you think? What's the most miles you've done in a day?
A little over 800.
That's a fuck ton. Wow.
That's what they did with it.
Well, I'll tell you what. They made it look cool.
Yeah.
Even if it rode like shit, can you airdrop this to Zach Clapman's MacBook? It looks cool as fuck. It's got a kind of a bobber vibe.
Are you control room?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. And they really did.
Oh, they did a
the
beautiful
look.
job.
Yeah, but it didn't help how it rode,
job, but it didn't declined.
Actually, no, that's the iPad, which will stop the citric acid. Just hold it up in front of one of the cameras.
Here.
My bad.
It's okay. Put it up. I'll give it to me. I'll put it up right here. This is fairly shanty, but how's that, Zach?
Framed well. Ooh, that looks.
It looks pretty cool, right?
It does look really good.
Yeah.
They shrunk like the seat, the fender.
They made it look a lot smaller.
Yeah, they stripped
and more
everything
compact.
down. No, these guys well, it's funny. So these guys were big time sport bike builders. One of them was. One of the partners built race bikes for, I forget, Chuck Graves' racing team and stuff like that. And then they got, here's a better picture of it. Then they got into the Harley business.
Oh, here's like an artsy picture of it, yeah.
There was so much money in the Harley business, they were like, we're going to give up on sport bikes. We're just doing Harleys now.
These guys are way richer. You should see what these guys are blowing 50 G's on, these fucking baggers.
Yeah.
Well, it was crazy. Up in the canyons, you'd have these guys who were doing like stunts and shit on motards. And then they all got Harleys, and then they started doing stunts on Harleys. That became the thing.
Yeah. It's crazy. Although those bikes don't last long. Like Harleys aren't built to wheelie. When you land a Harley from a wheelie, exactly. It's a solid landing.
Yeah. I remember. I always go back to Terminator 2 when he fucking, and he's got cables holding him up, and it's still just. like yard sailing parts all over the fucking place. Have you gone back to the track since you hurt your hand? Or are you done with
once,
racetrack?
but I would do it again. But it's been a long time. I've been back on twice. Once I had my little Grom on a go-kart track, which
are
is
they selling
super
your Grom?
fun. Yeah.
Okay, because
no, you know what they did, and this killed me, and this is why they're dealers. They bought it. So I said, "Damn, I'm thinking about selling it." And
I saw that thing on the flip,
man.
and I was like, "I bet that's Alonzo's."
I said, "Man." They said, Adam, I think Adam's son wanted to learn to ride. Said, oh, this would be perfect. So I sell it to them. Next thing I know, I see it on the site, and it's going for way more than I said. You sons of dealers can't help it, right? It's in their blood.
I just bought a monkey,
can't help
so
it.
I'm looking at all this stuff.
Those little bikes are super fun.
It's great. I just spent fucking $250 on shocks from Taiwan.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, mine had an Oleans. That was Oleans made a shock for the Grom, and it became their biggest selling shock absorber because you had to put one on,
so
or
shitty.
your Grom wouldn't hold. Like unless you weighed 120 pounds, you had to buy a shock.
Well, I didn't want to spend $700 on the Olins, so I got the next best thing from Taiwan, which was $250 or something, and it makes a big difference. But when I saw on Iconic, it said like celebrity owned, raised seat, and then all these mods. I was like, that's Alonzo's
They
bike.
pimped me on that. Although I will say that a lot of that stuff was prototype. Like I paid for the shock, but other stuff, people like, hey, you got a Grom? Because it was 14, first generation. They were like, can we borrow it? And Rizoma made bars for it. And then Brock tried like 3 different exhausts, and we got that. So it was fun, and it was fantastic. I didn't want to look at what they sold it for. I saw where the auction was, and I started cursing at them. And this is how bad they ripped me off.
Look on Iconic
I shouldn't
motorbikes
even say rip me off.
auctions. Let's fucking ruin Alonzo's day right now.
This is how much they profited off me. I invested in the company. I was like, you guys are good. I'm going to put some money in this. You pimps are doing all right.
Yeah, let's see what they sold the 2014 Grom for on their auctions recently.
Really? You going to do this to me?
Yep. I'm going to fucking fuck your day right up.
Oh, jeez.
But I'm obsessed with this monkey. I'm fucking with it all the time.
They're super fun.
It's really fun.
Did
you do the bore kit? Did you do the big bore?
No, I didn't do it. I thought about it.
I might. It's like $1,500. Winning bid, $5,100.
Yeah, they made $2,000 on that.
Oh, damn it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would have bought that shit for $3,500 off you for sure. Yeah, that thing it's great. So it's a 14, so it's a 4-speed or 5-speed?
Yeah, 4.
4-speed. Yeah. The new ones, 5-speed and stock Olins. It's a factory equipment now. They're the best. I endorse all Grom experiences. Yeah, that's fucking cool.
I'm gonna go down there. I want to grab. So you guys owe me another $1,000.
So they're getting my CX. The CX I bought really cheap. And I told the guy who I bought it from, he goes, "Do you want to come test ride it?" I go, "Nope. If you ride it here," I said, "you have to show up here having ridden it here." He was from Long Beach. I said, "If you make it here from Long Beach, I got the cash for you." He rode it here. I looked at the tires. They were 18 years old.
Wow.
They were cracked. I was like, this thing is... So I parked it for 2 years in the lobby. And then I just got tired of looking at it. And I was like, I want to fucking ride this thing. And I was like, it probably just needs tires or whatever. So I sent it to Iconic. And I was like, can you make this thing, go through it a little bit? And they got back to me like 2 weeks later. And they're like, look, man. This thing is sculpture. This thing is fucked. And it like the turbo wastegate was seized and all this shit. So I ended up having to give him almost $4,000 to get it to where it's at. But now I'm gonna go pick it up next week. It's finally done. I'm like super excited to ride this thing.
That'd be fun.
Weird as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, unique. Yeah. Kawasaki made one. Suzuki made one, and Honda made one.
Yeah, they were all going for it in the early 80s, but it didn't last.
No,
it didn't
because they found out, well, we could just make better engines. We don't need to slap a turbo on. We'll just make the engines a little bigger and then fuel injection and
it's a twin.
Else.
It's a parallel twin with a
it's a V-twin.
The V-twin with a
but
turbo.
it's transversely mounted.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funky.
Yeah, the CX was a weird bike. It was it was supposed to be like the small Goldwing. They even made one they called the Silver Wing.
Yeah.
But I don't think it ever caught on.
No, there was a 500 and a 650 as well. I've actually never seen a 650.
Yeah.
But I'm into it. I'm gonna ride it a bunch when I get it back.
Yeah.
I think it's money well spent. spent considering I paid $5 for the bike.
Listen, man, there's no, I tell people all the time, listen, there's no money in this game. Like you hear now and then about somebody making a bunch of money selling something, and then half of those people are lying because they don't want to admit how much money they lost on the deal, right? And it's like, man, if you enjoy it and you have fun and it's a great ride, and you can afford it, don't spend the kids' lunch money, but then it's just fun, man. It's a fun hobby.
Do you do car and bike shit when you're touring, or do you leave it at home?
On occasion, if there's something going on, if there's a car show in town, or actually bike-wise, I do gigs for bike. There's Americade's a big touring rally back east. I do shows at, and I've been booked. BMW's had me do some stuff. I did a Ducati dealer convention and stuff. So stuff like that comes up. I love when the worlds cross and you get to play and work at the same time. So. Yeah.
Do you do like bike material? Do
you bike material.
You got a bike set ready?
When I do that, because the biggest thing with bikes is the manufacturers and it's like competitive. It's kind of like the Army, the Navy, and the Marines, right? You have this kind of rivalry, and you have to know each bike's culture. So that's where the jokes come in, because like the Harley culture is chrome, polish. Like I say, Harley, they wake up in the morning that, man, my bike got darkness on it. I got to wash it. This thing had darkness on it all night, right? Then BMW riders go forever. If you have a BMW and you haven't ridden 300 miles before breakfast, you ain't shit. What are you doing? So that's their culture. Honda, the Goldwing is really the only iconic Honda. And the thing with Goldwings is how big is the rider? Because Goldwing riders are just massive people. Not all of them, but a lot of them. But they love lights. Like they love all these bright accessory lights and this. And they'll have the trailer matches the bike and the helmet matches that's a whole thing. So you kind of learn the different cultures. Ducati obviously is the race culture, even though your knee is never touching the ground.
How well do your leathers fit? Is that really?
Yeah.
The Goldwings are crazy. Like the last Goldwing I saw had like an Accord gauge cluster on it. Like it looked like a car with handlebars. Basically.
Well, there was
crazy.
that. I'll tell you what's funny with the Goldwing. So the Goldwing got this reputation of being a two-wheel car because that's pretty much what it became. So what Honda did was they got their sport bike engineers to redesign the Goldwing. And they came out with I think it was around 2018 or something like that, a smaller, lighter, fast-ass Goldwing. The problem was the riders were like, we're not looking for that. So then they had to...
I actually wanted an Accord, sir.
They made it a little bit bigger now. They put like a bigger trunk because the trunk had gotten smaller. You couldn't fit helmets in. And so they realized, okay, we got to make it a little bigger. But now they're fast and they handle phenomenal. And then they used to have a naked... Goldwing called the Valkyrie, which was an awesome
pretty cool
bike. I had
bike,
a couple of Valks. I always loved those. Then
and when people take a Goldwing and strip the bags and shit off them, they look really cool.
Well, when the original Goldwing was designed to be sporty, it was like going to be faster than the original 754. This is back in the 70s, and then the touring people were like, "No, this is a touring bike," But the problem with the Valkyrie, with the new Valkyries, they move. If you look like that red one at the top, that's one of the new ones.
It's a flat six, right?
Yeah, the flat six is great, but see the radiators? When they went to a side radiator, they lost the beauty of the bike. Because if you go to like that silver one up top or this red one or whatever, the great thing about the Valkyrie was, look at that engine. You had that huge chrome engine, those big
looks like
carburetors.
A fucking Porsche motor.
You had a car radiator on the front. Like it just had presence. It just was this massive presence, and it was starring the engine. Right? And then, but with the newer ones, because of the side radiators and the shrouds and stuff, they just don't have the same cool as the original Valkyries.
The newer one looks like they looked at a Triumph rocket and went, how do I
Which
make
I love.
it more like
I love the rockets.
Yeah, you're a rocket guy.
Yeah.
But these what is this, the radiator right here?
Yeah.
That's very weird. It looks, it's like a
See,
like a saddlebag on top of
Goldwing, you
the
don't
engine.
notice that because the Goldwing has the fairings and all that. But
yeah, I agree with you. I think the older one is cooler. Have you ridden a CBX ever?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
They are the coolest.
So, man, you pick on everything I have a story about.
Well, that's what I do. That's why I'm a good host.
Yeah, you're a great host. So I bought a CBX. It was called the Hulk.
Uh-huh.
It was the ugliest bike you've ever seen.
Was that the one with all the fucking boxes and shit on it? That CBX?
The green.
Yeah.
No. It was a 79 or an 80 CBX.
Okay.
And this guy painted it. He wanted the green and like purple that the Hulk has, but it was like pink and
Brazil.
Yeah, it was like pink and gray. Terrible bike. So I bought it. That guy in Marina Del Rey, he had it stored somewhere. Yeah.
Holy fuck. That was it?
That was it.
Wow, dude, that actually is the ugliest motorcycle I've ever seen.
So I said,
so
I didn't say I bought it. I didn't say I bought it. I said, I'm going to rescue this thing. This is a rescue. And it ran. I took it to my guys at AIP, the guys who had built the Harley, and I had a bunch of Ducati parts left from my Diavel.
Okay.
And we were like, let's combine the two. Let's put the Diavel stuff on the CBX and make the ultimate street fighter. Right?
Okay.
They got it to a rolling chassis, and it sat for 2.5 years. They just stopped working on it. They were like,
I don't know how it seems so easy.
One of the fabrication guys left, and I'm disappointed in them only because we've had like a 20-year relationship of buying and building and doing bikes, and like I get it. They went through some personal stuff, some family stuff. So the business kind of changed. They moved out to Santa Clarita. They started doing Harleys and hot rods, and they just kind of lost, So it sucks. So I got a guy now who wants to buy it, and
you still have this thing?
It sits there. It's at their shop. It's on a stand in their shop. But the CBX, that was the bike when I was a kid. That was the bike I wanted. Like, that was that ultimate,
Well, if you hear one, you just have to hear one. It's like
amazing.
a Formula One car.
Yeah,
it's just the craziest sounding engine ever.
I'll tell you the craziest sounding engine. Honda's first 6 cylinders were 250 cc's.
Oh,
they
like
were race bikes
like
from
the 2 strokes?
2 strokes.
Yeah.
And it sounded like a hornet's nest. You talk about a crazy sound. Think of a 250cc 6-cylinder. The pistons are like that.
It's like a model airplane engine.
It's like 6 of those Cox. Remember Cox airplanes?
Yeah.
This is before your time.
We're the same age.
Yeah. No, I'm talking to...
No, we are the same age. Me and Zach. Yeah. I'm just a rough 40.
You've taken a horrible care of yourself.
Yes, I know.
You're a mess.
I know.
You're a mess.
He's what happens when you work out a lot and don't do as many drugs.
But yeah, look at the piston. Those things were like...
The piston in the guy's hand.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
That's hilarious.
The piston is, I don't know, the size of half a finger across.
That's crazy.
Wow.
The sound that those things made was crazy.
Can you get what's it called? RC166?
Mm-hmm.
That's an RC. Can you see if we can get an audio clip of that? I want to hear what that sounds like. That is a tiny, tiny piston.
Yeah.
Oh, look how little the bike is with the guy on it, too.
Yeah, this was in like the
That
60s
rules.
that they raced these.
Good-looking bike as well.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Let's see. 20,000 RPM.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Here we go. Let's see. Let's listen to what it sounds like. Oh yeah.
It sounds like an F1 car. Oh man,
Yeah.
this is idle.
It idles at like $6,000.
Yeah. You almost
wow.
couldn't idle it.
Yeah, you had to push start it. That does actually sound
really
amazing. Yeah.
Look how quick he's shifting. Like
7 years.
Oh, he's gonna come back around.
Here we go. Let's get a flyby.
It sounds so good.
I can't quite figure out what he's doing with gears.
I think he's like.
Well, it had probably about a 2,000 RPM power band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes 65 horsepower out of 250 cc's and revs to 20. That's amazing.
That does sound incredible. And look how it looks like he's riding something that's like the size of a Grom.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. That's fucking cool. And now we've learned something today. Do any of those exist still?
Yeah, there's still some around.
Abby, get on it.
Yeah, I'm sure Abby can get you one. That was the thing about Honda, right? Honda's such a brilliant engineering company, but they over-engineered everything.
Mm-hmm.
They engineered the feel out of everything. Like we were talking about the NSX, you know. And I drove the first generation NSX, and somebody said, "What do you think?" I said, "It's the world's fastest Accord."
Yeah. I mean, they do a lot of things right, but they never really excited me.
Yeah, you got there's a feel, and that's why. Because I had a friend who was a big marketing guy at Honda. We were talking about it. And I said, "You only have one icon, the Goldwing. It's really Honda's." And then the Grom had just come out, and I said, "And you got to hit with the Grom," and they knew it. But the other bikes, they work well, but there's no excitement. Nobody's lusting for a, you know.
But what I mean, I've never tried it, but like, what separates a CBR from an R1 from a, I don't know.
Well,
Gixxer?
that was, I mean.
Can you do the Japanese sport bikes have their own characters, really?
The 4-cylinder engine does. So they're screaming engines, but you're splitting hairs there because that's when you're getting into it's strictly bragging rights that the ZX10 is faster than the Gixxer, which the CBR. The CBRs were always easier to ride. That was one thing. They didn't have as much of a hair trigger. They do more now, but the hairs that you're splitting, it's like, yeah, but none of you can ride good enough to tell the difference. Like, you got to be a pro to ride hard enough to know the difference. They're phenomenal bikes. The power to weight ratio on them is ridiculous. They're all flirting with 200 horsepower now. And they have all the technology to keep you from killing yourself.
Mile, right? Yeah.
But to me, the open class sport bikes got so fast and so small. They made now the 1000s are the same size as the 600s, right? So they became so powerful and so small they weren't fun to ride because it's like driving a GT3. A GT3 is awesome, but a turbo's a better car.
Sure. And
you're going to drive the turbo. Your GT3, you're not going to drive it as, you know. So they're literally super bikes. The open class leader bikes are as fast as world super bikes were 5 years ago, you know, professional bikes. But is it fun? I mean, you see more stunters than racers on them. Stunters love them because they're light and torquey. You can do all kind of crazy stuff with them. But riding, if you're not doing track days, like we were talking about Joe's a track junkie and his friends are track junkies, and they use their bikes to the extreme. But if you're not doing that, it's almost like it's not fun. It's more fun to get a slower bike and ride it fast.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. Even with like, you know, with the Porsche stuff, like if you're not going to a track with a GT3 RS, it's way too much car for the street, and it's actually less fun than a, quote, lesser product.
Yeah, well, like we were talking about the BMWs, the CSs, you know, unless you're Zach's size, like you and me,
seats.
They got to wedge us into the seat of a CS.
Zach didn't like the seat either.
The hard, you know, the hard suspension and this and that. And then it's like, listen, man, get an M5 or an M3, and then you can just put it in comfort. You know?
Unlimited budget cars. What are you buying?
Rolls-Royce Ghost.
Okay. I like how it's still kind of a BMW.
Yeah.
No, I've never driven a Rolls-Royce, and I keep saying I'm going to rent one just to drive it.
Yes.
But I'm like, if I'm going to spend $300,000-$400,000, I don't want to be in a Lambo or a Ferrari and be uncomfortable and not get to use it.
Fair.
We were on PCH, and there was a Ferrari. I'm not sure which one it was, but it was sitting next to a Cullinan. Is that the Cullinan? Yeah. And I was like, which one do you want to be in? LA traffic, which one do you really want to be in?
I've driven a Rolls. They are amazing.
You know?
It's a totally, you know, you don't, you know, if you've been in Range Rovers and you've been in 7 Series and you've been in stuff like that, high-end luxury vehicles, you go, well, how much better could a Rolls really be? A fucking lot.
Yeah.
Like, it's a totally different experience.
I think when I'm 65, I'm going to finance one for 10 years, and then I'm going to
roll the dice.
I'm going to die on those sons of bitches. I'm going to die on you. You won't get your money out of me.
Right before the balloon payment, motherfucker.
Take it back.
I'm going out.
Take it back. That's right. I'm going to lease it and run up the miles.
Yeah.
I don't care. No, those I think are, it really, It just has an ultimate car to it, the 2-door, like the ultimate coupe.
Suicide door.
Yeah, the ultimate coupe.
The one we have downstairs, the Wraith.
Yeah,
that shit's
the Wraith.
nice.
They're beautiful. I've driven.
I'm selling my house. I'm just about to list my house in Venice because I moved, and my real estate agent came over. Motherfucking rolls. Rolled up in the fucking rolls.
That's good. That's both good and bad.
I know. He's going to sell it,
and
I'm going to have to pay for his fucking rolls.
That's like Abby with my Grom. Sons of bitches. But, that's the ultimate car to me. The exotics are just that. But do you want to be driving one? And the other thing with the exotics is, you got to valet park your Lambo. Like, do you really want to?
You got to keep cash. It's the only thing we use cash for anymore is to pay off the valet parkers to let you park that shit yourself.
Yeah, because man,
I review these modern supercars, but I'm not particularly interested in buying them. They've made them easy to use every day. But it's not. That doesn't excite me. I'd rather have the Rolls or whatever for daily, and something older and classic. Like I've got a Ferrari 328 that's like from '86. It's 280 horsepower, but it's super engaging for that occasional weekend drive, and I really get the fizz.
Yeah, nice. I had a buddy who had an exotic, and he said, "Man, you just get tired of driving it. You get tired of talking to people about it all the time." He said, and then if you get into the exotic world, he's like, "Oh, you don't want to be friends with these guys."
Yeah.
He's like, these aren't the guys you want to hang out with, So I get it. Listen, I'm like anything you can enjoy, but man, I've had as much fun driving a Mini. You get a Mini Cooper S and just
they're great.
Wail on it. I had the 6-speed. Mine was like an 04 or something.
Yeah.
It was like it's a fun. It's like this
is
like
supercharged one.
Yeah.
And went,
you're driving a go-kart every day.
My Mini was the most trouble I ever got in. Most tickets I ever got in a car was in that Mini.
Yeah.
I drove like a shitbag in that thing.
Yeah, because it's a go-kart. It's so you can have fun like all those little Civics. And stuff like the kids were hot rodding. I had a 911, and I was talking to this kid. He had a Civic with like 300 horsepower. I was like,
bet it fucking ripped.
You could have just bought one of these for the money. But I get it. I get it. For their generation.
Have you gone back and tried one, though?
Fast and Furious world.
Dude, you got to go back and try a great Civic. Really well-modified Civic. They're fun as fuck.
I had a CRX, man. The CRX was an awesome little car. Whenever I see one, I'm like, man, I wonder it'd be like to get another one of those.
Cost you $30,000 to get a good one now.
But those were all really fun, light, fast cars. They didn't cost anything, So it's like you don't have to spend the most money or have the most horsepower. I mean, listen, my M5 has 600 horsepower. When am I going to use that? I've driven it to Vegas. I've been in the desert.
That's a good time to use it.
I've done some stupid things, but the only fun thing really to do is pick on a Challenger on the 405. Just when they think, oh, really? You think your little Hemi is something? Well, let me show you how the Germans do it.
They are really selling a lot of Hellcats, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yes,
They're selling a shocking amount of Hellcats.
And it's one of those things that the people driving them, it's like, man, is this the official meathead car?
It's really aggressive. It's a really aggressive car. And my house I'm moving out of in Venice right now, I was on right by the beach. Every Sunday was like the fucking Hellcat Nationals.
Yeah.
And there was a stop sign in front of the house, and everyone's doing like a 2-step drag launch away from the stop sign. I'm like, get me the fuck out of here, dude. Shit is so bad. As I putt away on my monkey.
That one, and then, Teslas. Being on a motorcycle, I don't like Teslas because I just assume you're not driving it.
Yeah.
And they've just this summer they had 2 motorcyclists killed by Teslas and autopilot because they don't see us. They don't.
Well, we just talked about this.
They don't read bikes.
Well, they use cameras only, right? No radar and no lidar.
Right.
And the way motorcycle tail lights appear to a camera that doesn't really see in dimensions, especially cruiser bikes.
Right.
A sport bike that has one high tail light versus a cruiser bike that has 2 low tail lights, it could appear to this camera system to be a car that's just further away.
Right. And
so without the redundancies, it's very, very dangerous.
What is the #1 selling bike in the United States?
Is it the fucking Harley, whatever?
Cruisers. Harleys. Yeah. So you have this car that doesn't see the most common bike in the country, and and this has been my thing with cars and self-driving. This is my problem with it. It's like artificial intelligence will never match human stupidity. Right? People will do something, like no matter how many, like the cars are constantly learning and shit, but they just can't account for what some idiot's going to do, and that's when you need a human, because somebody's going to do something stupid, and the car can't react to it because it just hasn't been programmed for someone doing something this incredibly stupid. I mean, we have people driving the wrong way on freeway off-ramps. The car it's not programmed for that. It's like,
well,
why is that thing coming toward you?
Yeah, it can't. Even a very good artificial intelligence system doesn't learn things the way that humans learn things. Right. We can put shit together based on the world around us. If you're driving, for instance, down the road and you see a four-way intersection and there's a tree obscuring 80% of a stop sign, your life experience can put together, that's probably a stop sign. Right. The rest of it is there. I'm going to stop. But unless the computer has been taught that very thing about that very stop sign, it doesn't know. It can't make those assumptions. It's just not. And without redundant sensors like LiDAR and radar, a camera-only system is incredibly limited. And people will say, "Oh, well, you have two cameras, your eyes." It's like, yeah, but they don't have the fucking human brain to interpret what they're seeing.
And the marketing people, they deny it, but they tell people this car drives itself.
Of course they do.
That's like, this car,
their
this
stock
car drives
valuation
itself.
is based on it.
Yeah.
It's not based on building a quality product that trim pieces don't fucking fall off. I assure you that. It's not because the cars are rolls.
So, that and that's the new thing, right? So you have to be aware of that now. Do but those are the two
save lives?
No, and it's because sound is directional, right? So you can hear it when it passes you, not when it's coming up on you. And for the little amount of head turning it does, the annoyance, and what loud pipe guys will never tell you is, it is miserable being on top of that noise. Like, you think that noise bothered, like imagine just sitting on it,
Especially when they just cut it right there, and when they've got the 4-inch, that's the worst sound.
I had a friend with a loud-ass Harley like that with the bitch pad on the back, this and that, and his wife, beautiful. I'd pull up on my Valkyrie, she would literally be like, I'm going to ride with Alonzo. She's like, I'm going to ride on Alonzo.
She's mad smooth.
He hated it. She was like, yeah, look at it. Got a back seat, that big smooth engine, no noise. Yeah, I'm gonna ride with him.
I want to hear the engine, but I don't need to. I'm over the age where I need to magnify it.
Right. It's tiring, that kind of noise, and they show that it's fatiguing and all. But you have a great sounding engine and you can enjoy it, but you don't need to bother everybody when you're setting off car alarms. Like, okay, you're a dick.
Yeah.
Like you're not tough. You're not badass. Sons of Anarchy was the worst. It was a great show, but it was the worst thing for motorcycles ever, because everyone was like, oh man, I'm going to get one of these.
Yeah.
I'm going to raise the bars and everyone will think I can fight. No, they won't.
You ever do Sturgis?
No, yeah. Yeah, you got to. You been to Sturgis?
No. I kind of want to go,
You have to go.
Is it awesome?
This guy told me, he said, once in your life, you have to see Sturgis. Is it awesome? I don't know. It's huge. It's beyond scale of anything you can imagine. It's 500,000 motorcycles taking over 3 cities for 2 weeks.
And they're happy you're there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Listen, it's their economy.
Yeah.
It's their economy. They make so much money. That's why they wouldn't cancel it during the pandemic. Because what else do they have in South Dakota?
Yeah.
I mean, those 3 weeks. It's like in the old days, like toy stores were like, December. We make our whole year in December, right, on Christmas toys. South Dakota makes their whole year in 3 weeks in August.
Yeah.
But it's just the scope. It's beyond anything it's hard to describe. I mean, when there's nothing but motorcycles as far as the eye can see, and you just see the weirdest shit. So I was there the first time I was invited by Indy, and it was the launch for the Scout. So there's like 6 of us. I'm riding with the journalists, and we pull up and we stop. I'm like, did you see it? Yeah. Did you see it? Yeah. What do you think? At least 7 months. It's a pregnant girl at the bikini car wash washing Harleys, and we were, and it's like, you're not going to see that. And she was very pregnant. She wasn't a little pregnant. She was very pregnant in a bikini washing bikes. We were like, only at Sturgis.
The inclusivity.
Only at Sturgis. We went into a T-shirt shop. Me and a guy named Alan Lane. He's a brother from Philly. He runs a magazine called Sport Bike Inc. It's like the what's the word? The urban street scene. It's the brothers who ride sport bikes, a lot of stunters and stuff like that. That's his world. That's, what his magazine's about. So he and we're the only 2 black guys at Sturgis. We were there early, and we're laughing about it. Like, everybody's like, but they were cool, and we're in this T-shirt shop, and then we realized, wait a minute. This is a Hells Angels T-shirt shop. The Hells Angels are selling T-shirts. They're not killing people. They're selling shirts, and it was like, the big, and it was
merchandising.
Those, So those kind of things were just funny.
That's crazy.
But it's
Is
so
it weird to be like the only black dude at Sturgis?
No, I mean, because Sturgis doesn't have as many. They call them the 1%ers. Those are the real hardcore bikers, the Hells Angels, the Vagos.
Right.
There's a big white supremacist undertow. And I always said that Harley's the only company that can sell to black guys and white supremacists. It's ridiculous. Harley and Smith & Wesson.
Right, yeah, I was going to say.
But no, it wasn't the overt racism that you probably would have got 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's there, but I'm not going to go looking for it. I'm not going to go test them. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, look, you idiots want to be over there and be yourselves. But no, most people were just very cool. And there was one guy who was like, man, I'm really glad to see you guys here. It's really nice. And I was like, yeah, there's a few of us, But it wasn't in a bad way.
No,
he was
he meant well.
It was awkward, but he meant to be welcoming, right? Because, what a lot of people forget when we live here in Southern California is a lot of America is very uniform. You go to the Midwest, a lot of places, they're just white bread. Like, they haven't seen Asian people or brown people, or where they see black people, but other than that, they don't know. And they don't mean they're not bad. It's just like, this is new. Yeah. This is something, So, no, they were cool. I never felt intimidated or uncomfortable. It was more we were just laughing, and we were giving the people from India
the white people are real silly sometimes.
Yeah.
We are fucking
we watch you guys sometimes.
We are ridiculous.
But I got to tell you.
Sometimes we're the worst.
Brothers.
We watch you guys.
The second time.
You guys use the buddy system, right? You and your friend just stay together.
So the second time I went to Sturgis, I'm invited by BMW, and this is when they first came out with the 6-cylinder bagger. And they had me.
That doesn't seem like it. It works with the Sturgis vibe, but okay.
It was me, a guy named Carlos, who's one of their test riders for their demos, and a guy named Kevin, a brother who was a BMW sales guy in Orange County. They fly us to Kansas City. They have what's called Black Bike Week. It's called National Bike Week. It's Black Bike Week.
I've been to the one in Florida. Same thing.
These brothers, I joke and I said, so you brothers bought all the road glides, right? There's none left. And you've seen, these are badass bikes. These bikes are chrome painted, stereos, wheels. I mean,
is this where they have the fucking 40-inch front wheel?
Yes.
That shit is insane.
I actually
kind of like it.
It's incredible.
It's
beautiful.
Where they have the giant, like a penny farthing.
It's beautiful bikes, right? And so BMW said, we want you to take the bagger over there. We want to see what they think of it. So we ride in, and they're kind of looking at us like, what the hell are these things, right? And it was so funny. To them, they were sport bikes. They were like, yeah, I could see this. But one guy, he said the most beautiful thing. He said, you know what the problem with this bike is? He said, you can't see technology. Like, this bike had a 6-cylinder engine. It had reverse. It had electronic suspension, this and that. They don't care. We told BMW, listen, you want to sell these things? You better put some wheels on it. You better put a stereo on it. Bring it out. You bring it out here to these brothers. And they were worried about the price. And it was like, 20 grand to them, that's a set of wheels.
Oh, that bike? The 101 1600 bagger?
Yeah, that was when it
Dude,
first
those
came
guys
out.
weren't into this
see, that
thing?
one, that's a special one. Roland Sands built that
of
one.
course that's a Roland
custom
Sands
one.
bike. Oh, this
But if
one.
you go to like the
regular one. Oh, okay, yeah.
Like that's the regular
Oh,
one.
all right,
Yeah,
yeah.
that looks very-
Roland,
So-
I would take
Looks
the
very,
Roland Sands one. That thing is pretty fucking cool.
So we went there, right? So we're hanging out Friday night, and some of them are interested. They're like, this would be a good second bike and this and that, you know. Saturday, we go back to it was at a fairground. No one's there. You know why?
They all went to Sturgis?
No, it rained.
Oh.
They can't get mud on their bikes. They all packed up and left. They were like, we ain't, you know. And it was real. And the BMW people were like, what? And they're like, yeah,
The BMW people have a full,
right,
like,
BMW
all-weather,
people like
yeah.
rain. What is this? So what? They were
Yeah.
like, you don't understand. You don't understand these bikes. You don't understand this culture. So then we rode the bikes from there
That's pretty funny.
in Kansas City to Sturgis. And when we got to Sturgis, like that black one on the right, it just looked like another black motorcycle. Like they didn't even really notice until you started, and then it didn't have the sound. They're like, oh, what's that? So BMW learned, they put the trunk on them, and I have the one with the trunk. It's called the Grand America, and it's a much better looking. And now the new ones, they finally have where you can get an upgraded stereo. And it's like they finally caught on to
40-inch
what.
front tire. Oh, is that the one at the bottom there with the trunk on top? The top box? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's like cushy as fuck.
Yeah. And you know what's great about a bike like that? And again, this is when you grow up and you take a woman for a
passenger's
ride.
real
Once she's
comfortable.
ridden on that, she's like, yeah, we ain't wasting time with your little, like that Kawasaki I bought today. Like, you know, when I see a girl on the back of a sport bike, I'm like, she loves you, dude.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing fun about where she's sitting.
Dude, the shit that I see in Venice, dude, it's like, you know, the back of a Gixxer and a helmet and a bikini top and Daisy Dukes. And I'm like, good luck having a functional brain and no skin.
Yeah,
like,
it's, you know, but again, you're in your 20s, right?
Yeah.
So you're stupid.
Yeah.
You know, and unfortunately, I had a friend who had his daughter really bad accident like that, and she ended up losing her legs. Just it's horrible and sad.
Wear your gear, people.
It's a moment. It happens. You know, that's the sad thing. It's one moment and it happens, and it's an accident. But again, at that age, that's what you do. You know, when people ask me about motorcycles, I always say you got to live through your 20s. Because in your 20s, you're dumb and you're indestructible. Yeah. But that's true of anything, right? That's true if any of these extreme sports or whatever. You don't have the money for the proper gear. You can't afford A-Stars leathers when you're 22.
Right.
Yeah.
You can afford the adrenaline from the bike. But all the other stuff, you're like, yeah, I'll get that later.
Yeah. You know, like people buy cheap helmets. It's like, really?
Yeah.
Really? Is that that's why you want to save a couple $100?
I know.
You know, you might want to.
So if I go to Sturgis, what should my plan be if I go to Sturgis? Just
don't
show
have
up
a
in
plan.
the town.
Show up. There, you know, Mount Rushmore isn't far. There's beautiful riding around
hear the
there.
roads
Like
are
if you
amazing,
leave, if you leave. But no, it's a show. It's you're going to the biggest bike show in America, and you're going to see, you know, 10,000 rugged individualists dressed exactly the same, all riding black Harley street glides. I was like, if you have a black Harley, how do you know where you park? How do you know where you, but they're cool people. They're having fun. You know, people get on them like, oh, man, you're just posing this and that. So what? If that's what you do. If you're a dentist, but for this week you get to be a biker.
Wild hogs, baby.
Have fun. Who cares? You know, because again,
valid
it's
point.
that little percent where they really are badass bikers and they're, you know, selling meth and they're going to get into a fight because your vest don't match. You know, that you don't belong over there. You know, it's even a thing, some code in the vests. I think if it has a place on it, that's a real thing. Then you have to be careful. Like there's some vests that they know
it says like Rough Riders, Los Angeles.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there's a thing, and I don't know the culture, but you might want to know the culture before you get a vest. But there's one where it's like they know you're just a poser, you're having fun, this or that. Then there's another one where like, okay, this shit is real, and you're not allowed to be here.
Which way is the Tibetan sign and which way is the swastika?
Right. And then when you get into, you know, when you start seeing swastikas and SS's, that in any world, that's a clue to turn left. Although I did have a friend, Diamond Dave, who was a tattoo artist. ex-Green Beret, super nice guy, but could take you out in a moment. And what a lot of them didn't know when they walked into the shop, it's Diamond Dave Rothberg. He's Jewish. So you might not want to ask for your swastika tattoo, or you might leave through the window. Yeah, he was, what a great guy. A super great guy, really cool, but he was like, yeah, I don't play that shit.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Fucking kid.
Yeah.
Shocking. Yeah. That's cool.
But Sturgis,
I kind of want to do it.
It's an experience, man. You should go. It's, that, because like I said, when that guy told me once in your life you have to see it, he's absolutely right. It's kind of like Indy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been to Indy or whatever, but things that you can't describe that experience.
Yeah.
You can't describe being at a Formula One race versus watching it on TV. It's just when an F1 car comes past you driven in anger, that is something.
Dude, I went to the Monaco Grand Prix, which is, if you're going to go to one,
that's the one. Mm-hmm.
And I've told the story before, but I stayed at the Fairmont Hotel, which is the tunnel goes under the Fairmont Hotel. And when we checked in, the check-in is on the second floor, and they go, here's your room key. You're going to go to the elevator and go down. Mm-hmm. And I go, down? And they go, yes, there's one floor below us. And it didn't occur to me that the floor of my hotel room was the ceiling of the tunnel. So it's 7:01 every morning after partying all night.
Practice starts.
Fucking practice. Mm-hmm. I was rude awakened, but that was the experience to have for sure.
Yeah.
We got questions? Mm-hmm. Let's get to them, but last before we do, what do you think of the Polaris Slingshot culture?
Fantastic.
You're into it?
Yeah. Again, I wouldn't do it. I drove one. Actually, when they first came out, I got to drive one. I wasn't even supposed to, but I knew the Indian Polaris rep, and she was like, yeah, you could take it. Then I went out and ripped on it, came back. She said, I wasn't supposed to let you.
It's a good thing it came back in one piece.
They're fun. They handle great. You're right off the ground. But the culture, the custom
crazy.
ones, insane. But I love stuff like that. I'm like, listen, I wouldn't do it, but if you're going to spend $50,000 for wheels and a stereo, and I was just in Atlanta.
LED lights.
I was just in Atlanta, and they had a bunch of them came by.
I think the reason I asked is I saw them on your Instagram. Yeah. There's equal craziness in Venice. There's 20 or 30 of these guys that rolled up. Yeah. Was that you?
That's me. That's the M1G. No, that was the Honda. That was even smaller than the Grom.
Oh, yeah, it's tiny.
But no, I love stuff like that. Look, like I say, I wouldn't do it, but who am I to judge? Here you go. I've seen enough crazy.
Is that you?
No. These kids race these little, they're like...
it's like a mini trail or something,
they're
right?
miniature road race bikes. I forget what they call them. Pocket bikes.
Pocket bikes, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing more fun than watching kids race pocket bikes.
Yeah, with the Predator head.
Yeah, that guy's got a full Predator head on.
Because what's funny is the bikes are so small, when they fall... They just roll a couple of times, then they jump right back on the bike and go. Like, they don't know yet.
They're not really falling down. They're just falling
They don't even know yet that it's supposed to hurt.
Yeah.
But the slingshot culture, again, if you're going to put that much money and build something that cool, have fun, man.
It seems like they're enjoying themselves.
They are.
But it is some of their modification strategy is very aggressive.
Yes.
With the lights and
look at me
stuff.
Look at it. Yeah. It's 1,000% look at me.
Look at me. I have 450 credit.
Yeah.
Questions, of course, go through our Patreon, patreon.com/thesmokingtirepodcast. Get the show live, get it before anybody else, ask questions of our guests, and get an extra show every month. Jake says, Alonzo, over the past 2 years, it seems like you've been able to go on a bunch of international press releases for certain bikes. Any experience really stick out above the rest?
Yeah, Triumph took me on the adventure bike ride this year, and I got to go off-road. I'm not an off-road guy, so they took us to an adventure class, and we rode in the dirt. So that was real. Yeah, it was fun.
Do you want to do more of that now?
No, it's not my thing.
Did you drop a bike?
Yeah, I dropped it. But in the dirt, you drop it, you just pick it up and keep going. And it was fun, but I'm not a dirt bike guy. But yeah, that was
that for the Tiger?
Yeah, for the new Tiger 1250.
Downstairs?
Yeah.
A buddy of mine moved out of state and left that and said, if you keep that here, you can ride it whenever you want. So I've been riding it, the Tiger 900. It's a nice bike.
Yeah, it's a nice bike. The Triumph's triple engines are all side. They're great.
Yeah. It kind of splits the difference.
Torque of a twin, power of a 4.
Yeah.
Great.
It's a nice, really, and an adaptive suspension, like we talked about before. Prashant says, Alonzo, do you know who Yamaneika Saunders
Yamaneika Saunders
Who's
is brilliant, talented, funny. He is absolutely right. She destroys. She's a comic in New York, but she's going to be on Amy Schumer's new series that I think is coming out on Prime or Netflix or something like that. And you're going to be hearing that name more and more. Yamaneika is brilliantly funny.
What nationality is that name? I mean, Saunders is
I don't know what
Jewish.
she's black, but I don't know where the Yamaneika comes from. If it comes from, I don't know if she has ethnicity in her family that comes from, or if it's just her name.
We'll look out for her. Brad says, Alonzo, thoughts on the new Honda Navi? Does the CVT make it too scooter-like to take seriously? Cool looks and good size for new riders. Have you seen this bike?
Yeah, and that's exactly what it's for. It's for a new rider. It's unintimidating. It's a kid going to college or high school or something. You can't get on the highway with it, but you get, gas.
It looks Grom-ish, but it has a scooter powertrain, basically.
Right. But gas got damn near $7 a gallon, and I bet everybody on a Navi getting 80 miles a gallon was laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it's fun. Like a third of the price of a Grom.
In-town bike. It doesn't have the CVT, the automatic transmission, so it's not as much fun as a Grom. But
it's a third of the price.
Yeah, it's great. And I mean, a new motorcycle for under $2,000.
Yeah.
That,
If it was me and I wanted something urban, I would get a used Vespa for $2,500.
Yeah.
A used Vespa is $2,500 forever.
But this is, it's lighter. It's more motorcycle.
It's a 125, right?
Yeah, it's more motorcycle. It feels more like a motorcycle. So yeah, I think it's fun. I think the little bikes are fun. Even the Ruckus, and you talk about something with no power. And another thing where the culture where they spend a fortune slamming them, stretching them, wheels, this and that. It's like, it's like the Grom. It's like, man, if I really hot rod this thing, I can get 15 horsepower.
Yeah.
It's only cost me $3,000, and I can get this thing well over 14 horsepower.
That might be some of the worst horsepower returns for your dollar out there.
But who cares?
Yeah. I think they are cool. I'd like to have a go on one. William F. Kraft just watched your special and really was into it. How far are we from hearing a new hour? My man just dropped a whole hour.
Yeah, I know. It's continual. I'm always writing new stuff. So by next year, it'll be a new one.
Get it on YouTube. Alonzo Bodden, Stupid, Don't Get Tired.
Mm-hmm. That is such a good title. I read it. I started laughing.
It's so true.
It's so fucking true.
So true.
Have you read what I call the Stupid book?
No.
Oh, fuck. I'm blanking on the full title. It's like
the 4 things of stupid people.
Yeah, it's like the 4. Can you? It's like it's a book that's like 100 pages, maybe not even, but it's what Zach will find it real quick.
The 5 laws of stupidity.
Yes.
Yeah.
But who's the author's name? No, it's called The Basic Laws of Human Stupidity.
Yes.
And it is worth your time.
Well, you know who famously said it? Einstein. The difference between genius and stupidity. Genius has limits.
Yeah, that's the book. Basic Laws of Human Stupidity. I strongly recommend it.
Yeah.
Okay. Chris Navio says, Alonzo, what are some lesser known motorcycle companies or shops that whose work you love?
Urals are fun.
Oh yeah,
that's the sidecar.
That's
two-wheel drive sidecar.
Two-wheel drive sidecar. It makes no sense, but they're fun to ride. I had a Modus, which the American attempt at a sport touring bike. It was a V4.
MODUS.
MOTUS.
Oh.
The engine was phenomenal. The bike wasn't great, but the engine was amazing. They ended up selling engines to people to put in other things. People were putting them in boats and side-by-sides. That was kind of a fun, unique
You're trying to
Boy,
arch?
you talk about losing some money. Oh, boy. Not a lot of money in the used Motus market.
Yeah.
But
a
if
cool
they'd have
looking
made,
bike,
if
though.
that was the owner's bike, and if they had made that one the naked version, it would have been even better than the sport touring version. But the main ones they sold were like that, with the fairing.
You ever ride an arch?
No, I haven't. I was invited to. My friend worked for him, but it was like I never worked out where I was home to get to ride them. I think they're
cool.
beautiful. Yeah, a lot of money.
I saw one in Malibu the other day, and it turns out it was actually Keanu on the fucking bike.
Yeah, they're bespoke also.
Yeah.
Like each one they measure you and they make it, which
Yeah.
is nice, the pegs and everything to fit you. Keanu, I've met him. I have friends who ride with him. Super nice guy.
Mellow.
Very mellow, very low key. Like if you had no idea who he was and someone said, "Oh yeah, that's one of the biggest movie stars in the world," you'd be like, "No, he's not." No, he's not.
Yeah, he was mellow. It was cool.
Yeah.
Andrew Nelson says, let's see, hope this isn't too long.
Yeah, it is, right there.
This is
As
a
soon as you
fucking
wrote that.
paragraph. Long story short, okay, went to the Velocity Invitational at Laguna Seca. I got to see a whole bunch of crazy shit and even paid $50 extra for open wine bar. That's money well spent. We want to go this year. Entry cost for the race only went up by $5, but the sip and savor entry was increased by $200. Was last year's silly cheap, and this is more normal for an event of this type? Are they being greedy as fuck? $50 for open bar all day sounds pretty cheap at an event at Laguna Seca.
Well, that was last year.
Last year was the first one.
And now it's
They hook you.
Yeah.
They hook you, and they know you're coming.
So who is this? Andrew, let me tell you about MotoGP at Laguna Seca.
Ooh, yeah.
So in 2005, MotoGP came back to Laguna Seca after having been gone for, 10, 15 years or whatever. And it was cheap. It was, $200 for a hotel, whatever it was. 50,000 people showed up. Monterey was like, what in the hell? Who are these people? Why are all these bikes here? Blah. They weren't crazy about it, but we were there. The following year, it was $400 for a Motel 6.
Yeah.
It was so. Andrew, yeah, the first one is cheap. Then they find out how many people are coming, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, this is Monterey. Let's get some money."
Yeah.
So that's just the nature of the biz, buddy.
There's a lot of reasons that could be for that.
Save the Cobra one and then.
Okay, Andy says, you're laughing at Alonzo's perspective on Bring a Trailer Trolls from a different podcast a few years back. Yeah, Bring a Trailer Trolls, dude.
We did that. That was on Adam's show because
Yeah.
at the time I was selling a 911 on Bring a Trailer, and of course, the bolts holding your windshield wiper on are completely incorrect. They're supposed to be. That's the Bring it, and that guy that guy's driving a '94 Camry. No insult to the '94 Camry drivers, but the experts on the most expensive vehicles.
Yeah.
They ain't buying one. They
Dude,
don't. And
we just sold a car for a client here on Bring a Trailer, and one guy came down to view it in person, asked me to arrange for an inspector for him, which I did, and I got Donnie, who's you put Donnie on a car, he's gonna find shit. So I'm no skin in the game.
Yeah.
Client's car, it is whatever it is. So Donnie found some shit. Okay, here's what it is. Delivered the report. The guy goes back to the comments and is like, "This car is misrepresented by the seller." And I wrote the most polite response I could come up with, representing my business. And he finished up his whole thing about being misrepresented with, "I'll still be bidding, but I'll adjust my expectations accordingly."
Yeah.
And he then proceeded to bid up to more than the most ever paid for this type of model car, and he lost the auction by like $1,000. But his bid, even losing, still went over the most money ever paid for one of these. It was a Ferrari 612 in a weird ass color, but he just tried to he tried to scare everybody else away. I think
the Bring a Trailer trolls, they're comical because they always find, but it's always some weird thing like, is that dirt on the chassis? That's got to be $6,000 off, right?
That dirt's not from North America.
Yeah,
but this car's
exactly.
for sale in Vermont.
Exactly.
Well, another commenter wanted me to measure the distance between the floor and the wheel arch.
Of course.
In the front and the back, because he thought it was slightly different left to right.
Absolutely.
I did that shit, but I felt stupid as hell doing it.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And, But so they're definitely funny.
Alonzo, do you real quick? Do you follow MotoGP? Do you watch it? And have you watched was it Amazon Prime show?
It's not. The Amazon Prime show isn't as good as the F1 show.
Yeah,
because it was more European and you didn't know as much. I follow MotoGP not as close as I used to. It was a lot more fun. Obviously, the Rossi era was fantastic. The Marquez era was pretty good, but now I'm not on top of it the way I should be. And I've also lost. Last year killed me in F1. When one guy can change the rules and give the championship to somebody, I'm like, why am I watching the whole season?
Yeah.
When it just ruined. I mean, I love Lewis, and Lewis should have won. It would have been greatest of all time. But also just the idea that one guy had that kind of power, and he was wrong. And everybody was like, yeah, he was wrong. He doesn't
work there anymore.
Yeah, everyone's like, yeah, he was wrong, but we're not changing it. It's like, no, you have to change it.
Yeah.
So that it really just tainted F1. Like it's not the same to me. You know what I mean? I said it's like them giving 4 strikes to a batter in the World Series because they want the Yankees to win. So yeah, you can have 4 strikes. We're going to give you 5 outs this inning. Like, no, you can't. It sometimes it doesn't go the way you want to go. Nobody wants to see it end on a safety car, but that's part of the rules, and that's what happens. And even within that, there's a strategy in that, because maybe if that's not the case, maybe they do change tires or something. But they're like, oh, we got this. Like you're thinking, yeah, we won. And then you're like, nope, you didn't win. So, but
I haven't watched a single race this year, but I will watch Drive to Survive because it's done well.
MotoGP is, when they talk about aliens, like I don't know if you're familiar with that term. That's what. There were 4 guys. It was Casey Stoner, Rossi, Lorenzo, and Danny Pedrosa. And they were trading the wins. Mostly it was Stoner and Rossi, but they called them the aliens because they were so much better than anyone on the grid that almost no one else stood a chance. But the slowest guy in MotoGP is so much faster than the fastest guy in World Superbike. It really is amazing to watch these guys ride. And if you really want to have some fun, go do a lap at Laguna Seca and then compare your time to theirs and say, next time I'm going to turn the throttle. Like they're so good.
Yeah.
That it's always funny when people talk shit about pros.
Yeah. It's a completely different
level. Are you
level.
kidding?
I get mad when people put any of themselves behind a sports team. I'm like, you don't play for the fucking team.
Right.
Like, just because you live in this city, like.
Yeah, when they say we, I love like everyone. We, really? I didn't see you out there. I didn't, like Barkley said it. Barkley said, listen, the worst player in the NBA is the best basketball player you will ever meet in your life.
Yeah, definitely. You got dates? You got gigs?
I got dates. This weekend, I'm home. Tonight, I'm at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood and Long Beach. Tomorrow, I'm at Comedy Magic Club in Hermosa and the new stand-up club in Bellflower.
Comedy Magic back open? Didn't they close for a minute?
Yeah, they were closed. He was trying to sell during the pandemic, but then they just reopened.
Oh, nice. I like that
July.
place. That's a great spot.
Awesome club. Coming up, I'm going to be at Helium in Buffalo.
Zach helped you out here.
Yeah, I'll be at Helium in Buffalo at the end of the month. I'm going to be 3 East Comedy Club in Colorado Springs is awesome. And then we're doing the Wait Comedy Tour. That's the Michigan, Kalamazoo, and so on. And that is there are so many comic panelists on Wait, Don't Tell Me on NPR. They decided to do live shows.
That's awesome.
So we're uncensored and unlimited by radio. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then please watch the special, Stupid Don't Get Tired. It's free.
On YouTube.
It's on YouTube, and people are loving it.
In Colorado, when you're in Colorado Springs, go up Pikes Peak if you haven't been up it.
I'm going to this time because I didn't last time.
It's cool as fuck. It's crazy.
If you can, go to Iconic and just tell them they killed me on my ground.
Yeah.
Tell them
go bid on something and then don't pay.
No, I'm kidding. No. Don't do that. Don't do that. I invested in the company.
Tell them to finish my
I'm going to
CX.
give Abby hell.
It's a dangerous place to hang out.
No, man, you
Friends.
don't buy my bike and say it's for your kid and then put it up for auction and make $2,000. What the hell kind of deal is that?
Thanks for coming in, man. I appreciate it.
It was great. It's good a long time. Good to see you.
Thank you for coming
Congrats
down.
on the new place.
Thank
Josh.
you. Ride safe.
You keep looking good. Man, you really? Same age? You shouldn't tell people that. You should tell people that.
I don't tell people that.
You shouldn't tell people that.
That's our show. We are back next week with who the fuck even knows. It's Friday, so let's take a day off.
Yeah.
See y'all later. Bye.